Ollie, we went down to the Demons by 13 points in the end on Sunday in what was a close tussle throughout. What did you make of the loss?
Yeah, 13 points against the final side. Melbourne has some pretty good players, and they're obviously going to play finals for the first time in 11 years, which is great for them. But we did push them, but it's hard to... there's been a few times this year we've said, is this a missed opportunity or is it a good effort?
Yeah.
I think it's somewhere in between there, because we definitely had our chances, and some undisciplined acts at times really cost us in that first quarter. There was some goals, which you don't want to see at all.
Yeah.
And Jesse Hogan coming back, I think that could have been handled differently. He kicked the 6 goals and just took the game by the scruff of the neck and just completely dominated. And I think coming back from a shoulder, there was a bit of talk after the game that we probably should have really bodied him early, really physical. With the young side, you're probably not thinking that. You're probably a bit intimidated by a big forward, but we probably needed to do that and go to him early. But yeah, he ended up getting on top and really dominated. Just a super player. We all know that. But yeah, the pleasing thing was we didn't get blown away, and we really just fought hard at the end. We reduced it to 7 points with not long to go, and every opportunity to snatch that. And the way Melbourne's history's gone, you would have thought, the Demons could lose a game like that in this situation, but yeah, they proved it too good in the end. But there was a lot of good signs to come out of it again. But yeah, a bit disappointing we actually didn't get the win.
I think you're right. At one stage, it did look bad. Like at the start of the fourth quarter, when Melbourne kicked 2 or 3 goals pretty quickly, you thought, here we go, they're going to get away. But to our credit, we pegged them back and got it within as close as 7 at one point, but just couldn't. I said to someone today, it always felt like, Melbourne just kept us an arm's length apart. Like we kept coming and coming, but they always seemed to just put their arm distance away from us and keep us at bay. But a really, really good performance. I think, that sort of blitz in the fourth quarter was the difference. And even, obviously, Jesse Hogan kicking 6 goals was pretty critical. But I thought Cam Pedersen kicking 3 goals was probably the main difference, as that relief ruckman being able to hit the scoreboard was pretty crucial. You spoke about some undisciplined acts, and I think what comes to my mind was Dayne Beams and Jeff Garlett, which was a bit of an interesting one, because I was
it was bizarre
at the ground and sort of had no idea what inspired that reaction from Dayne. But I think, having watched a bit of footage, I think it's hard to tell, but it looks like Garlett actually hits Beams below the belt. Bit of a low blow. Which, obviously incited that reaction from Dayne. But it wasn't ideal from the captain to give away what was effectively a 7-point play, and a 2-goal loss isn't ideal. But other than that, Dayne was pretty much faultless again, kicking 3 goals and racking up 33 touches in
he was
a masterful performance.
Again, he's just a super player. Obviously, really out of character that play in the first quarter. But if he got hit below the belt, then you're going to react in a pretty severe way. So that's unfortunate if that's happened and it hasn't been picked up by the MRP. So
I think it's the only thing that I could really take from that, unless he said something, but it does look maybe like a sneaky low blow.
Yeah. Yeah, the commentators on radio and TV thought the same thing. They're just like, what's going on here? What sparked that? Because it was totally out of character.
Yeah.
For him to really fire up like that. But Beams again, he almost could pinch. He's missed a few games, but he almost could pinch the best and fairest off Zorko, just the way he's going. And just being able to rack up consistent 30 possession games and kick bags of goals, 3 goals this week. I think it was 3 goals again last week. Might have been 4. But anytime you can have your captain kicking bags of goals, his season, his games are right up there with the greats of our club.
It's an interesting one on the BNF. I was looking at the AFL.com.au have a Brownlow predictor, and I think most of the season you would have thought Zorko would have been our runaway leader, but last weekend the predictor had Beams up by 1 vote. And after the weekend, he's a chance for maybe a 3, but potentially a 2 or a 1. So, the BNF could be interesting. It seemed like a one-horse race for most of the year, but Beams putting some really high-quality games, especially towards the back end. Hopefully we can get him, healthy, fit and firing all season next year, combined with a fit and firing Rockcliffe would be pretty handy.
Oh, yeah.
So we highlighted Beams. If we were doing our 3-2-1s, he's undoubtedly 3 for both of us. I'll start with the 2. We'll start with yourself. Who would you have gone to? It's a tough one this week because other than Beams, there was no real standout. So I think we might have a bit of differing opinion here.
Yeah, probably. I think it's a tough one, but I'll go Zorko.
Yeah, okay.
26 possessions, a goal. He probably did enough to get the 2 votes, but there's a few you could choose from. Thought Rich was pretty good. Louis Taylor again, pretty good. Basti was okay, kicked the goal.
That on the 4 was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Someone that we
He hasn't missed all season. He's been absolute dead-eye, and all of a sudden he just absolutely shanks that. It was very, very surprising to see that.
For my 2, I went a bit left field. I actually went Josh Walker. I thought his ability to create a contest in the air and sort of clunk some of those bailout kicks down the line was really important, and like Bastanak, has just rejuvenated his career in the back half of this year.
Yeah.
I suppose with his appearance, in that he is a balding man, we tend to forget he is only 24. There's a lot of footy left in Josh Walker.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll move on to the 1. Who would you have gone? You said a few names before, but if you had to stick out a 1, who would you have?
I'll go Rich.
Rich?
I think he's really improved in the back half of the season. He was copping a lot of criticism early on in the season. I think a lot of it was warranted, but we've spoken about the influence Witherden's had coming into the team. He's freed Rich up, and he just seems rejuvenated. He's getting back to that form we know he can play, and he's just been freed up completely, so I'll give him the 1.
You'd probably have to say it's his most consistent year, I would have thought. For my 1, another bit of left of centre 1, I went Darcy Gardner. I thought he was exceptional. His spoiling in the first quarter was absolutely terrific, and then to bob up for that goal as well.
Yeah.
I thought, as a defender, really good.
That's a good call.
Yeah, I'd probably almost go as far as to say like a PB game from Darcy. I thought it was superb. Just before we move on from the Melbourne game, I just remembered one of the key moments in the game when we were sort of making our charge in that fourth quarter. Michael Close had the ball in midfield and sort of went too quickly, bombed it away. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the moment where we sort of blew our lines a bit. Yeah. And I think the ball just sort of ran away from, might have been Josh Walker playing deep there. But anyway, I think you're right. I don't think we deserved to win, and it would have felt like we pinched it if we did win. But in saying that, we took it right up to a finals team for 4 full quarters, which, with how things are going at the start of that fourth quarter, last year, and years gone by, that's a 40, maybe 10 goal loss.
Yeah,
so
completely.
Promising signs, and hopefully something we can build upon for next year. But before we get to next year, there's one more game to play, and it will decide the wooden spoon. What are the chances to be playing off for the wooden spoon in the last round of the year? 2 teams, North and Brisbane.
Yeah, I saw you on Twitter just before saying you want the Cam Rayner Cup just blocked out of your feet, and I definitely agree with you there. I think playing for a potential draft pick, for a number 1 draft pick, I think it's just pathetic. You saw, you go back 10 years, the Cruiser Cup, Melbourne, Carlton, and they were obviously tanking that night, and look where that's got them. That did no good for either club. Carlton had a few good years there playing finals, but Melbourne was obviously absolutely a shambles for 10 years, and now they're just getting back to the top now. So, yeah, it's been one of the more... You look down the bottom of the ladder, like it's been spoken about this year, the top of the ladder and how close it's been, but now it's just evening up down the bottom of the ladder. And you have to say, we're sitting on the bottom of the ladder at the moment, but we'd have to be one of the most competitive sides to actually be sitting in 18th position.
It's a good point.
At this end of the season. Like, we're playing some really good footy going to next season. You can't say that about too many teams. Like, most 18th sides or sides in the bottom ladder are just waiting for the season to finish. But you get the feeling that most of the guys are probably wanting it to go on for another 5-6 weeks, because just that momentum and the confidence is just really up in the group. So, it's going to be a big game. But I think at the Gabba, like, we'll win this. We should win it. North Melbourne's gone the other way. They started off the season playing some pretty competitive footy. They were pushing most of the top sides, but just weren't coming out to results. Some really close losses. But yeah, they've had some blowouts in recent weeks, and we've been the absolute other way around. So at the Gabba, I think we should win this.
Yeah, last time I checked, we were $1.70 favourites, and I'd expect that...
Favourites? Ooh.
I'd expect that to shorten as the days go on. But getting back to your point about our ladder situation, there's no world in which we are the 18th team. Like, Freo just lost their third game by 100 points this year.
Freo is easily the worst side in the competition at the moment.
Well, I was trying to work out if it was Freo, North,
Gold Coast,
or Gold Coast.
No, Freo by an absolute mile. They're just uncompetitive at the moment, and most of the other sides are.
What's amazing for me is, as I just said, this is Freo's third loss by 100 points. We haven't lost that many games by 100 points in the last 3 years, and we've been absolutely terrible in that time. For Freo to do that this year alone is just unbelievable. Just gobsmackingly bad at the moment.
Under Ross Lyon, who plays a very defensive game style, I don't think they even received a 100-point loss before last year, and now he's absolutely been on the end of plenty.
It's an interesting one, Ross Lyon. They signed him to a long-term contract only this year, but he's not proven as a developing young talent sort of coach.
No.
Like, he's come in with, well set up lists and done well, taken both St Kilda and Freo to finals. But yeah, this will be a whole new challenge, and it wouldn't even surprise me if, like he did at St Kilda a few years ago, just bailed.
Yeah. You can't see it really getting much better at Freo.
No. Anyway, back on topic. We got sidetracked pretty drastically there. Yeah, we should beat North. I'd be really disappointed. We could actually even leapfrog the Gold Coast if they get absolutely hammered by Port. I think it'll take something in excess of 100 points, but you never know. Port are very good front runners.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Especially at Amy. And you never know, we might even put a few points on the Kangas at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it's interesting listening to the two fan bases. I don't know if you have many North friends, but they seem pretty keen for the first pick, whereas we're all about
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really strange. Yeah. Like, you look at the drafts over, as far back as you want to go, there's very few times where the number one pick eventuates into the best player from that draft. I mean...
Hardly ever.
And
go back 3 years ago with St Kilda, they got Paddy McCart, and he probably will still be a good player, but he's had his serious troubles. And, throughout the years, like, it's been rare for the number one draft pick to be the best player. And
irrespective of that, like, the Cruiser Cup, Cruiser was out and out the number one player. No one even knows who the number one player in this draft is. Like, obviously, there's been media outlets call it the Rayner Cup, but then seen a bit of a tide turn this week, and some saying Paddy Dow's now the number one pick. So no one really has a clue who they're playing for this weekend. So I think, the idea of tanking for the first pick is just stupid. And I know North will say, pre-season draft threat for Josh Kelly, but I don't think they're getting Josh Kelly.
No. Why would you want to go there?
No, exactly. So, yeah, I think we win, and we win by at least 4 or 5 goals.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed, very disappointed if we didn't win this at the Gabba as well. I think even if we're playing them in Melbourne at the moment, would win. But yeah, it's so interesting. The North supporters, yeah, everyone I've spoken to, they are dead set on getting the spoon and getting that number 1 draft pick. But I think just the media hype around drafts and younger players coming, I think it's just I'm just over it because it's just pure speculation. You don't know what this player is going to turn out to be like.
Exactly.
You've seen over the years that you could have some duds that come in at number 1, and yeah, it's just all speculation and pure talent. Like once I get to AFL, it's a whole different story. So no, I think you just got to win at all costs.
Getting a bit sidetracked tonight, but I've thought for a while now that this off season has the potential to backfire on North Melbourne. Remarkably, like they've been very public in the fact that they're going after Dustin Martin and Josh Kelly. If they turn around and get neither of them and finish last, they're gonna, their supporters are going to be hurting come next year, and I wouldn't be surprised if that severely affects their membership numbers for 2018. I think they've got high potential to get burnt this off season.
I think they do.
Any changes to the team that played Melbourne? It was interesting to note, I don't know if it was visible on the television coverage, but when we were making our charge in the fourth quarter and the ball was sort of pegged in our 50, Eric Hipwood was down for a while, which really didn't help our ability to get a goal and inch back closer, but he was stuck down for about 2 or 3 minutes. Ended up playing out the game, so hopefully nothing wrong there, but it definitely didn't help our cause. Any changes that you would make?
Yeah, if Hipwood's a bit sore, you might go with caution and bring Shaki back in. But it's hard to see too many changes, really.
No. I think even someone like Clay Beams is on his last legs and probably his last year with the club's been pretty handy back in the side. But I do think if Jared Berry is healthy, he'll probably come back in for someone.
Yeah. Maybe Clay Beams.
It might just be, but I wouldn't fault him for being poor. He had one really good attack on the contest, which I think he ended up worse for wear with Bernie Vince. Got the ball going forward, was right below me. It was really good to see. But even like I thought Reece Matheson was pretty good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tinker too much unless we were forced to. But if Berry's good to go, I'd probably bring him back in.
Yeah, good call, that one.
The other thing we're going to talk about during the week, which got a few tongues wagging down south, was Chris Fagan's comments when asked about Charlie Cameron. I think he pretty much said to the effect, hypothetically, if a player of his talent wanted to come, we'd certainly look at it. His comments caught the ire of Adelaide coach Don Pyke, who was pretty fierce and scathing in his presser on Friday night, and certainly the most animated I think I've ever seen Don Pyke get in a press conference. What have you made of that little saga?
Yeah, it's been a really interesting one. Yeah, probably if Fagan had his time again, he'd answer the question a bit differently, because it isn't a good look commenting on contracted players, especially during the season. But obviously in-house, Cameron is probably looking at coming back to Queensland. There's been a lot of speculation around him. So obviously in-house that the Lions are going to be absolutely targeting him. If he wants to go back to Queensland, of course, we're going to look at every single thing we can do to get him. But at the same time, this is just what the AFL is now. It's an open market, and I think Don Pyke has to realise that. He was pretty critical of Fagan and what he said. Shouldn't be talking about contracted players, but that's just how it's all playing now. Free agency and players regularly moving clubs. So I think there's probably nothing wrong with that, but you just got to get used to it.
I think he was so, frustrated by Fagan's comments, because deep down he probably knows that there's some truth to it, and that there might be a bit of trouble here with Charlie Cameron in the off-season. And also, it's a bit of pot kettle black when you think 12 months ago Bryce Gibbs was going to Adelaide. So I think, Adelaide probably weren't as didn't make comments during the season in terms of Bryce Gibbs, but I might disagree with you a bit in saying that Fagan would phrase it differently. I think he was, asked a question. He said, if such and such wanted to come here, sure, we'd look at it. I don't think he was too aggressive in his comments. And he actually was on radio down here in Melbourne this morning saying, like, I think Don Pyke's misinterpreted what I've said.
Yeah.
So he certainly wasn't backing down from it. But yeah, as you said, like, you look at the NRL and players, announce their intentions.
Yeah, mid-season, keep playing for the club.
Yeah, that's right. I think, as a brand, we just have to sort of move past that.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. Anything else before we sign off this week?
Nope, just looking forward to the weekend and finishing the season off with a win. That would be the ideal finish to the season. There's some serious momentum to take into next season. And it's not just us as supporters saying that now. I think there's people in the media actually realising that, we're really on the right track this time, and there's a pretty good young group to work with, and Fagan's doing a great job. And you just measure that from the start of the season and how far we actually have come. So it's going to be really exciting to hopefully get that win and get off the bottom of the ladder on Saturday.
I think there's no doubt we've improved. Like, we talk about some stats last week on the show and how many quarters we've won, and now we've actually got the second worst percentage behind. I think Freo went below us after
the worst.
Their loss, and even from our perspective, our percentage has improved since last year. To me, there's no doubt we've got it right this time, and Fagan's, steering the ship in the right direction. Exciting times, and what better way to finish the year than by belting the pants off North Melbourne, relegating them to the spoon, and Bob's your uncle.
Absolutely.
All right, mate. Talk to you next week.
See you, Keags.